first we're going to start out with our fielding drills. It's very simple, just teaching the kids the proper setup when approaching a ground ball. We do this by setting up these 5 baseballs in front of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we also put a bat from the 5th ball to the 1st ball. What we want to teach them to do is approach these ground balls, and we want them to catch it somewhere between the 1st and the 3rd baseball. All right, so when we use this verbiage, we say catch it between 1 and 3. We want them to catch it on the glove side of their body. All right, what this is going to do is going to make sure that their momentum does not carry themselves away from first base by catching it on the back side of their body. We want their momentum to be moving through the ball and towards first base. So by keeping that ball on this side of their body, their momentum is going to be moving towards first. Also, we want to point out to the kids, we want their glove foot slightly in front of their throwing foot. All right, this is his glove side. Essentially what it says it's going to do, his last step coming into this ball is going to be moving him already in the motion towards first base. We would tell the kids glove foot forward. That's what this means. So we have this bat going between ball 1 and ball number 5 in a straight line, and you see where his toes are, almost touching the bat right here on his glove foot, and about 1 foot length behind on his trail foot. All right, that will be glove foot forward when we teach. And another thing that we want to do with the kids is making sure that they bend at their knees, leaning forward with their hands out in front of their body, fielding this ground ball. If they have their hands back inside of their body, that is going to be taking their momentum away from first base again. We want all the momentum going towards first. So by having this bat here, when they field this ground ball, they need to field it in front of that bat. So then they know that they are out in front of their body. When they bring it up into their body, they're not actually going to bring their hands into their body. Their hands will actually stay about 4 to 6 inches away from their belt line when they come up for the throw. All right, so we'll teach the kids that. Gator that ball out in front. All right, as you see here, he does not have his glove on. I like to do these drills with no glove, and he's gatoring that ball. 2 of the purposes of gatoring the ball is 1, if that ball pops up and out of the glove, they're going to have the hand there to stop that, and they can keep more control of the ball. The other one is the smoother and quicker transition from glove to hand to make that throw. All right, so when we have these kids, we're going to point out the position of his body right here. His head is down. All right, one reason we want that head down is to make sure that they're watching that ball coming all the way in and into their glove. A lot of kids will keep their head up, and their eyesight will stay out here about 5 feet in front of them. They will not follow the ball all the way in with their eyes. So that ball will be here, but their eyes will still be looking out here. What happens a lot is then if that ball takes a skip one way or another, or stays low when they're expecting it to bounce up, or if the ball bounces up when they expect it to go low, they didn't see it because their eyesight is still looking 5 feet in front of them. So we want to make sure that their head is down following that ball into their glove. All right, one thing that we tell them is we want to see that knob on the top of their hat. Okay, if we can see that knob, we know that their head's down. We know that they see that ball. They're going to be able to react a lot faster if that ball hops up on them. Once we've taught them the positioning of actually bringing that ball into their body and where we want their feet, their head, and their hands to be, we're going to work on moving in and approaching this ground ball. Okay, so when we approach that ground ball, it's going to be 2 steps into the ball, field that ball, and then 2 steps out and make the throw to first. 1, 2, glove foot forward, 1, 2, and out. All right, we explain this to the kids that if we're coming in, our momentum is moving towards first base, we're going to catch that ball between 1 and 3. It's going to keep our momentum going that way, and we only want to take 2 steps out to throw that ball. Another thing that we're going to do, very elementary here, just to help with that muscle memory on approaching the ground ball, is essentially having these kids stop at each crucial position of approaching the ground ball. There's 3 positions that we're going to be in. First position is glove foot forward. Second position is head down, ball out in front of you. Third position is 2 steps out and throw. 2 steps out and throw. So at each position, we'll tell them to pause. So we'll set the ball down here. Ready? 1, 2, 3. And at each position, we want the kids to remember what it feels like to be in that position. So once we have the approaching of the ground ball, how we want them to field it, their body position, and bring it into their body, and make that throw to first, we're going to work on where we want them to start before the ball's even hit. So when the pitcher is in his windup, we want them to start out, the infielders, a little bit deeper than where they would normally play. We call this the deep and creep. A lot of coaches will teach you this as you move up in the ranks. So we want them a little deeper than where they would be as the pitcher starts his windup and creep forward, stay in athletic position. Right when that ball is about to be made contact with the bat, they're going to a little bit of a hop and stay on the balls of their feet and ready to go. This way, they're already in athletic position, ready to move one way or another. All right, after putting all that together, we're gonna do one full motion, starting with the deep and creep all the way through. We're gonna tell them which ball we want them to field. All right, ball 1, 2, or 3. Or we can tell them to field ball number 4, but they need to keep it in the position on their body as if it were ball 1, 2, or 3. We call it a number, they deep and creep, they come up, approach the ball, 2 steps in, 2 steps out, make that throw the first. Here we go. Ball number 2. Glove foot forward, head down, 2 steps in, 2 steps out. Ball number 4. He's gonna get himself set up. He's gonna field ball number 4 between 1 and 3, 2 steps in, 2 steps out. Ball number 3, an approach, glove foot forward, head down. Very good, 2 steps in, 2 steps out. Ball number 1. Here we go. So I only have 2 players here with me today, but we can do this with the entire group that's working on fielding, is setting up a bat and 5 balls for each kid. All right, this way we can get all of the kids through as many repetitions as possible, calling out the ball number, having them approach the ball, and keeping an eye and make sure that they're all in the right position. So when we call it a number, they're gonna approach the ball properly and then throw it to first. Ball 2. Everybody does it at the same time. Everybody in and get set. Ball 3. Here they come. Watch everybody. Get set. Make sure they're following through properly. Ball 5. Now this is a hard one because it's on the wrong side of their body. Stewie, you did not catch that one between 1 and 3. Make sure you keep the ball between 1 and 3. So that ball was off to your side. You can circle around it. Make sure you keep that ball on the glove side of your body. Okay, so we have a drill here for the kids if they're having trouble understanding or having the muscle memory to have their glove foot forward and they're either on their heels, their glove foot is back, or they're even across and having to take extra steps before throwing it to first. One thing we can do is set this bat on a slant. So if we have a player coming in like this, go ahead, Stewie. All right, stop. Stay where you are. His glove foot is back, so his momentum is actually carrying him away from first base. So when he throws this ball, it's going to be very wild and off target because of the way that he is standing. He's not stepping towards first because of the way his feet came out of that. In order to turn his body to get towards first, he would have had to take an additional 2 steps. We want to cut down the amount of steps that our infielder is taking because the runner is taking more steps than our infielder because he is running. So essentially for every 2 steps we take, they're taking 4 or 5 steps. So if Stewie has to set himself up here and take 2 extra steps, that guy is 4 to 5 steps further down the baseline, which means he's gonna have to throw it harder, more chances of being inaccurate. If we come in properly and move out properly, it's gonna cut down how much time that guy has to get to the bases. So one thing we can do, go ahead and get back in your starting position, Stewie. If the kid's having trouble with this, put down the first ball again. So what we can do to combat the kid that is having trouble with his glove foot forward is right now, essentially, our first ball and our 5th ball are real close to that bat. We can set this bat off at an angle to where it's going to force them to have to put their glove foot forward. So we set this on an angle. Okay, we can set it up like this to where we have about a 1 foot space between the throwing side and have the first ball on the glove side up against the bat. This is going to force the kid to have to come in and he's going to have to set his glove foot forward. Go ahead. There we go. This is another fielding drill that I like to call the carousel. What we do is we have the kids line up. Everyone that's in their group doing the fielding, they're going to line up right here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to roll a ball to them and make sure that they come up with proper technique. Glove foot forward, head down, catch it out in front of your body. They're going to come up 2 steps in, 2 steps out as if they're throwing it to first base. But then what they're going to do is run around here. They're going to run right around me, drop the ball back down in my bucket so I can go right to the next kid. All right, I don't stop, they don't stop. We call this the carousel. They just keep going around and around and around pretty much until the kids get tired or until you get tired or until they can't keep up. All right, so here we go. First kid, like that. He's gonna come around here, drop it in the bucket. Next kid, and then we pick up the pace as they go. Next kid, there we go. Next kid, they come around me. All right, lots and lots of repetition. As you see here, Stewie doesn't catch it out in front of himself, and you correct the kids as they go, all right? Heads down in front of themselves, catch it between 1 and 3, glove foot forward, good job. They keep going around just like this. Lots and lots of repetition, no gloves, okay? Anybody can catch a baseball like this with gloves. This is gonna be a quick overview of doing rundowns. This is going to be between third base and home. I've only got myself 3 players here. You want to run down with at least 4 so you can have proper rotation, but just so we can quickly go over what I want the kids to do to run a proper rundown is as soon as they get that ball, get it out of their glove and up in the air so the guy they throw it to sees it, right? All right, you got the ball out of his hand right away. Holds that ball up so that the guy that he's going to throw it to next, which would be the guy that's backing up our catcher, is ready. He can see the ball. Now, I do not want our kids faking the throw. Fake the throw, Tyler. Don't do this, okay? Because not only does it mess up the runner, it messes up the guy that's ready for it. That ball needs to be easily visible, and it's just a flick of the wrist to throw it to him. All right, now as we see, for purposes of not having a lot of room here, he's only about 5 feet in front of home plate. We want the kids to come out about 10 feet in front of the advancing base to get this ball right here. He's also going to have a player behind him backing him up in case he misses it, all right, on the rotation. All right, so now when he gets that ball, he's going to pull it out of his glove right away, and he's going to run the player back to third base. Stop. Now our third baseman, he's only going to be maybe 5 feet short of third, okay, because this is not the advancing base. We don't need to be as far forward, all right? This cuts down from our kids feeling like they're rushed, that right when he gets the ball into his hand that he's got to throw it right away in order to get him. That causes our kids to hurry too much. So we don't want the third baseman or whoever it is that's covering third to come too close to home plate because it will then rush our catcher to get the ball to him, okay? Now, when he releases this ball to go to third, we want him to rotate back to third base. We want him to rotate to the inside of the baseline. Always the inside of the baseline. Now, I was always explaining this to the kids, all right? If you rotate to the inside of the baseline and you make contact with that runner, more often than not, if you're on the inside of the baseline, they will give you the benefit of the doubt on interference. On the outside of the baseline, that's usually where the runners are running when they're rounding bases, when they're moving back and forth, so the runner will get more of the benefit of the doubt. That is not the rule, but you will get the benefit. If we rotate to the inside, more than likely they'll call the interference on the runner. Another fielding drill is the shuffle. We're gonna have the kids shuffle back and forth, throwing the ball from one side to the other, back and forth, and making sure that they field this ball glove foot forward and field it between 1 and 3. It's gonna be hard when they're moving from side to side. You're gonna roll the ball to them, they're gonna come up in the position, then they're just gonna flip it back. You just keep going until your bucket's empty. Here we go. 1 and 3. 1 and 3. Throw it into the net. Just like that. 1 and 3, glove foot forward, glove foot forward. There you go.